Mel, what do you see as the role of the manager?
So I think the role of manager should be trying to find opportunities for the bands that maybe they are not confident to chase or find. Bigger gigs, support gigs, I guess contracts, things like that, all the stuff that maybe just gets left behind.
Do you think that artists actually have some illusions about what a manager does, that maybe when the manager comes in suddenly there's not going to be any more work to do or something?
I definitely do for a lot of bands, because I think they really struggle with the business side of their work. They just want to create music and perform it. So I definitely think that if there's not a very good communication early in that commitment between the manager and the band of what actually the roles are, it can get lost for sure, and a lot of work get pushed on to other people.
Yeah, okay, sure.
I'm lucky enough to not have that though.
Yeah, they sound like a fantastic act to work with.
Yeah, they're great.
What do you think that the key to success is? What are you how are you going to chase that?
I think putting the band in front of larger audiences, trying to build the fan base, which is always hard if you don't have a lot of support on rotational radio. I think that giving them more time to rehearse and record new music and constantly create and have funner gigs, more like festivals or bigger stages or supports for bigger bands. I feel like it keeps that happiness inside them to keep going when it's sometimes really hard.
How do you think artists can nurture that fan base and make sure that they're giving back and constantly kind of connecting with them?
Yeah, I think with social media they can constantly keep this creative connection with them. So, fresh photo shoots and, what they do personally and things like that. Just the music, it's kind of following their lifestyle, and we've all loved that about all our musicians. Their music and the lifestyle and who they are as people, I think, creates a fan base, because people want to connect that they love to surf or they love doing other things, and just this illusion that they're in a recording studio all the time just making music. So I think being a well-rehearsed band is key, because then you've maybe listened to a recording and then you see that band and they're even better than the recording, which is usually the way. And making sure to always have time for your fans. It doesn't matter where you are. If people are just loving you and they want you to sign a record and you don't, even if you don't think you're at that stage, just do that, because that's the beautiful connection that you've made with that person. Your music's hit their heart. So
and look, I've seen some very famous artists in my career, and some of the most famous ones are the ones who are most committed to that still. So I think there's never a time when that suddenly doesn't matter. It
always matters. I mean, we've had, I think Ziggy Alberts after his show there was 550 people. He stood there for nearly every single one of them. They were lined out the door. He stood there, got a photo and signed whatever they wanted, and I was just absolutely amazed. I was like, you are the most beautiful person. I can't believe you've just spent all that time.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
The role of the manager, if we could sum that up into one kind of little key point or key nugget, it's something about sort of taking that raw product and taking it to the world. How would you describe that?
I think that sometimes bands, as a manager, you're giving them that confidence that they don't have to do. So you're the one that's projecting it out there going, this is amazing, you have to see this. Where bands lack that about themselves, I think. They might love their music, but talking and selling that, I guess, themselves and their music outwardly is really difficult for them. So if you can be the opportunist and find moments that can help catapult them into the world, then I think, and know when they're good and know when they're bad. So I think just always being that person that can keep an eye on things and find opportunities for them.
And the last question is, if you could create a famous musician version of yourself, whose instrumental prowess would you choose?
I'm a huge fan of Stu from King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. Guy's a maniac. He plays a 12-string electric. And I don't know if you ever heard King Gizzard. It is intense music for someone to be... And then he goes upside down and he can play the flute. And I think he's just incredible. I think he's an incredible musician.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate you talking to me.
Thanks, Em.
Okay.